We are now through the first two rounds of this year's Women's French Open, so with that being said, let's go ahead and recap those opening two rounds. What's up, everybody? It's John Eric Pola here to look back at those first two rounds of this year's Women's French Open. It's been a great tournament so far, with some players experiencing the thrill of victory while others experiencing the agony of defeat. Let's go ahead and recap it by going over the good, the bad, and the ugly. As always, we get started with the good. I'm going with Elena Rybakina here today. Rybakina definitely one of the favorites in this year's tournament. A lot of people believe that if Iga Swiatek doesn't claim this year's championship, that it will be Elena Rybakina who holds up the trophy when it's all said and done. She's looking every bit as the part of one of those favorites here at Roland Garros, looking very good, very clean through these opening two rounds. Definitely gonna keep an eye out on her as this tournament progresses. Quick honorable mention here today in the good. I have to go with that matchup between Iga Swiatek and Naomi Osaka. What a great match. That was so fun to watch. It was so exciting. Osaka looking the best that we've seen out of her here in 2024. That roof being closed in made it a not the typical clay surface that we're used to seeing, and Swiatek struggling a little bit with that roof being closed, but Swiatek never says die. She rallies late, wins a three-set thriller. We saw the emotions from her afterwards. I mean, just what a great match. That match was all that and a bag of chips. It was so fun to watch. I'm so glad that I was able to watch all three sets of that epic matchup there. Now let's move along to the bad here. I have two people in the bad. Going to get started with Jelena Ostapenko. Ostapenko, of course, a former French Open champion. She exits early, losing in round two. Very disappointed to see from Ostapenko. I definitely thought that she was one of the contenders to win this year's French Open. I'm not saying she was one of the favorites to win this year's French Open, but definitely thought she had what it takes to make a very deep run. I thought she was playing well. We know that clay's her best surface. Very disappointing to see out of her losing this early. And speaking of people that lost early, how about Beatriz, Haddad, Maia? She was also playing very well. I had her as one of the contenders too in this year's tournament. Very disappointed to see her exit as early as she did. She's playing so well coming into this year's tournament too. I was very shocked that she exited as early as she did. Definitely a missed opportunity for her, that's for sure. Now, speaking of missed opportunities, we have two people in the ugly today. Let's get started with Danielle Collins. I mean, I thought she absolutely was going to be right in the mix of things here. I was really looking forward to seeing a matchup between her and Iga Swiatek. We're not going to see that. Danielle Collins loses in round two, and Collins was playing just as good as anybody on tour. Let's not forget, after Indian Wells, she wins in Miami. She makes the quarterfinals in Madrid, losing to Irina Sabalenka there. Makes the semis in the Italian Open, also losing to Irina Sabalenka. Then plays in a tournament last week, losing in the finals to Madison Keys, who's also been playing very well. So Collins losing this early, very shocking, very disappointing, and we're not going to see that great matchup with her and Iga Swiatek. So really upsetting to see that. Also want to quickly talk about Maria Sakkari. Sakkari, another player who was playing very well here as of late. She made the finals in Indian Wells, and she's been following that up with very consistent play. She's looked very good, especially on clay. We know that clay is her best surface. Very shocking to see Maria Sakkari lose as early as she did here. So Sakkari, Collins, very bad showings here in the opening two rounds of this year's Women's French Open. Those two ladies, of course, eliminated. That was the recap of the opening two rounds of this year's Women's French Open. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're following along on TikTok or any of those other social media platforms, make sure to follow along there as well.